again, sizing up Murphy, drives, floats, hangs, and scores on the turnaround. J-Dub way behind the three-point line and hits way behind the three-point line. Got blocked, what a rejection by Holmgren. Standing tall like a wall.
This is Ugart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Uncontested. I'm your host for tonight, Justin. As we got a whole squad of fellas here tonight with you. We've got Jacob.
What's up?
We have Nicholas.
Howdy, howdy.
And we have Taylor, who unfortunately doesn't like the sport of football.
Oh, Justin, what a great evening of the sports balls.
And muted. We are proudly part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and Prairie Artisan Ales. Make sure you follow us wherever you get your content across any of our social platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. And I'm just kidding, Taylor. I won't actually leave you muted. We're happy for you, rocking your Chiefs, red, rah, rah, Pat Mahomes, hooray for you. Yeah, anyway.
Refs and four.
Yeah, well done. Anyway, how's everybody doing? We had a basketball game today, the only basketball game today, which is kind of odd.
There was a basketball game on tonight?
Okay. We did have a basketball game. The Oklahoma City Thunder defeat the Portland Trail Blazers. Was it 118-108 final? A nice win for Oklahoma City. Like I said, kind of odd. The only NBA basketball game that took place today. I guess the NBA was, much like Taylor, deferring to the NFL today. But we're here to talk about basketball. So let's dive right in. Oklahoma City takes down Portland 118-108. Big takeaways, thoughts, themes, standout performances. What do we have to take from this one in Portland?
Did you tell everybody who our sponsors and whatnot are, or was I just like still blacked out by the Chiefs?
Yeah, honestly, who knows? If I didn't, okay, thank you. If I didn't, we are brought to you by Blue Wire Podcast and our friends over at Prairie Ales, who make this delicious seasick crocodile that I am once again sipping on this evening.
It's like 3 Sundays in a row, Justin. You're
It's
saving them
just
for the
two.
Sundays.
Just two. It is special.
I'll kick us off with takeaways.
Please do.
There are, and you got to take it with context because of who the opponent is, but there's a lot of teams and a lot of games in which if the 3-point shooting disparity is what it was tonight, you get your butt handed to you. Whether it was a function of the opposing team, the Blazers, not being great, or a function of Oklahoma City overcoming it, or a combination of the two, it's an impressive thing. I think one of you guys have the stat on the 3-point differential on the night, but it was like Portland's 3-point shooting was unreal.
Unreal.
And
I got the numbers if you want them.
Let's hear it.
Thunder were 33% from 3, 10 of 30. Blazers were 45%, 18 of 40. So the Blazers got 10 more up, but made 8 more. So that's a 24-point difference.
It's a lot.
And that's way above their shooting averages on the season. They're at like 33% on the year. So they were just pouring in everything tonight. To your point, Nick, like most teams, most games, that gets you beat.
Mm-hmm. So
the fact that the Thunder walked out of Portland with a win, that's impressive given the circumstances.
I'll tell you, and Nick, I'm kind of interested to hear your kind of thought on this, but this is the first game with I don't say this disparagingly, but like with an actual big, like I think Jay Will doesn't do a lot of big man things a lot of the time. Tonight was a night where they had their actual big back in Isaiah Hartenstein. And I thought the offense, honestly, both sides of the ball just looked completely different. At halftime, I thought we were going to get the Hartenstein triple-double because he was like 7, 7, and 4 at half. And some of the playmaking, he had that. It was in the second quarter. Ousmane Dieng was maybe at about the free throw line extended and set a down screen for J-Dub. And then Hartenstein stalled. Both guys go with J-Dub and just threw that bounce pass for the Oos roll for the dunk. And it's like he brings a different level of playmaking to this team offensively. I thought that whenever you don't see it for a while and then it comes back, it really, really pops. And that's kind of what I saw from Hartenstein on the offensive end tonight. He had a wonderful offensive line here. He was 5 of 6 from the field, ended 14 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and a block. He was a plus 12, the highest plus minus of all the starters. I thought he was really, really good offensively, and then offensively, and then you look at what he does on the defensive end and just being able to really protect the paint and be that deterrent, really wall guys up, just quite literally a wall. He's so big and thick and wide that it's hard for dudes to drive into the paint and like get through that guy.
Whenever something questionable is said on the podcast, I always look at Justin and his face, and I know
that's what I'm here for.
Jake, it was kind of funny. You and I were sitting there watching the game together. It was in the first quarter. And you mentioned, iHeart's back, but been going to J-Will quite a bit. And so I went ahead and pulled up the minutes, and it was like 7 or 8 minutes for iHeart in comparison to J-Will 6. And so I said to you, like, I wonder if iHeart's on a bit of another like kind of minutes restriction, like we have kind of talked about with Caruso. But looking at the final box score tonight, iHeart plays 32 minutes to J-Will's 14. And like you said, his impact was just absolutely undeniable. They couldn't go away from him. And it's just his passing, his playmaking that just opens up so much more for this OKC Thunder team. And again, not to sound like a broken record, but what we keep talking about, what Jacob and I were talking about at dinner, was just how dangerous some of these lineups will be when Chet's back in the mix. It's like hard not to imagine that. Yeah. But probably a good time to mention that there's no Lou Dort tonight due to an knee injury. Hopefully that's something serious. Maybe it's a little more disciplinary than an actual injury. I don't know. It's a little speculatory on my part, but
sit one game for yanking the hog.
That's one way to put it.
It seems.
But iHeart was certainly a big takeaway from tonight.
Jorking it. He was jorking. 1 game suspension for jorking his peanuts.
DNP jorking.
Technically, he was jorking somebody else's, but
hey, you do you. I had the same reaction to Hart, Jacob. Obviously, the big storyline tonight, Hart back in the lineup. Isaiah Joe also back in the lineup, but the big story is Hartenstein back in the lineup. His presence was felt massively. I mean,
Isaiah squared back.
Isaiah squared, right. The Isaiahs. Defensively, just having rim protection. Like, who knew, right? That it makes such a difference. He had some massive plays in the paint tonight. Having that presence inside, it's just crazy the impact that it has with this team. Like, this team's defense is so good, but when you put an actual rim protector in there, it just elevates it to a whole nother level. And you understand why the Thunder's record is what it is when they actually have a center. But I love that you brought up offense first, because I think we've seen this team struggle, get a little stagnant, get a little hero ball-y with Shai without Isaiah Hartenstein. And I think that really illustrates when he is back in the lineup like tonight, the impact that he's made on this team in kind of a short time span, right? Like just this season, he completely changes how this offense plays. It opens up so much and makes them so much harder to defend and makes everybody better. That, again, to use the cliche, to see him and Chet on the floor at the same time, which is a thing that we still have not seen yet. Like, it's gonna get silly, because what those two bring is so different. But I think both complement everybody else on this team so well that it's super exciting to continue to look forward to and think about. But really nice to have Hartenstein's presence back on the floor.
4 of 9 from the free throw line. Obviously, you want to see him make more of those free throws, but the fact that he got to the line 9 times is obviously a welcomed development there as well. And I love that that Jacob mentioned his assists. I mean, 6 assists on the night. The big talk is going to be the double-double. I think the broadcast said this is like his 16th double-double of the season. But the way he's distributing the ball, I think just says all that needs to be said, given what we already talked about with his playmaking and how he creates for this offense.
Yep.
I don't know. There was some possessions tonight where the ball movement was just insane. There's just pinging all around the court, ending up with wide open layups and dunks. And Justin, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with what he does opens up the offense so much that, to me, it's a no-brainer he and Chet start together whenever Chet's healthy. I think originally the worry was Hartenstein wouldn't space the floor enough to allow them to start Chet. At this point, I don't see it. Chet spaces the floor enough. You still play with Hartenstein as your like quote unquote like big man.
Yeah.
You let Chet guard whoever the 4 is, and I think it takes your defense to another level, and the playmaking from Hartenstein just blossoms. Also, watching the intro video tonight, I know Hartenstein's ethnicity, okay, but the brother looks very white. You look at this team in the playoffs last year, besides Chet, who are the 2 white guys who played?
Gordon Hayward? Where are you going with this?
Josh Giddey.
And now you have Hartenstein and Caruso. It's like infinitely better. Imagine if the Thunder had those 2 guys instead of Giddey and Gordo last year. Gosh, Gordo was so
bad. Dude.
Horrible.
Wild.
I wonder what he's up to now.
It's a great question.
He was making the appearance on a podcast the other day. I forget which one it was.
I think he's talking Hornets.
Yeah. Anywho,
something Taylor mentioned was Hartenstein's free throws. He was 4 of 9. I don't want to talk about efficiency from the line, but I want to talk about a trend in this game that has been a trend of late, and that is Jaylen Williams getting to the free throw line. Tonight, I think he was 8 trips to the line, or eight attempts from the line.
8 of 8
against the Mavericks. Say that again.
I said he was 8 of 8 tonight.
Yeah, he was 10 attempts against the Mavs, 7 against the Jazz, 8 against the Mavs the time before. It seems like, and it's a smaller sample. He had 8 a couple games before that, 7 a couple games before that. Just seems like he's getting to the line with more frequency, and that's a awesome sign for a guy that you want to be your number 2 scorer.
That was going to be my next big takeaway, not specifically the free throws, but just Dub in general. Thought he played a really great game tonight. In addition to the 8 free throw attempts, 24 points in 37 minutes off 7 of 19 shooting, 2 of 4 from behind the arc, added 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. I believe he was the leading scorer at halftime. If not, he was close to it. I think he has played really nicely lately, and I think that's after kind of an up and down start. You hope to see that continue trending in the right direction. I think really strong stuff from Dub tonight.
I think tonight's game, and I kind of mentioned this to Jacob as well earlier, but it's kind of the Dub conundrum this season in a nutshell. Like you rattled off his stats, Justin. He was fantastic, and he's continuing to really impact the game at such a high level on both ends of the floor, and is the reason that the Thunder are winning so many games like they are. And yet you look at his stat line, or his shooting split, 7 of 19 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3, which is great. It's trending back upward a little bit. Yeah, a little more towards how he was shooting towards the beginning of the season, but still pretty inefficient. We're still just waiting for that Dub breakout game offensively. And I understand he had 30 the other night, but it just feels like all of his offensive possessions are just almost such a struggle. And every once in a while, he'll get to his spots and have one of his, patented pull-ups and look incredible, but he still just doesn't seem to be in quite a rhythm offensively, and yet he's impacting the game at such a high level. For me, that's incredibly exciting and promising, but I think it's worth mentioning he still just isn't incredibly efficient offensively right now.
I think that's fair.
I have some Thunder-specific stats I want to talk about, but while we're still on the game, not Thunder-related, but there's some guys, like Portland's a bad team, but they're not. They've really, from the beginning of the season, they've really turned it around. They've been playing better lately. God awful team. Like they're only 2 games back from the Spurs. So they're not awful. I was not impressed at all with Klingon tonight. He did virtually nothing. Denny Avdia, dude.
I knew that's where you were going with this.
I mean, he's
Nick's twin.
Denny was really good, and I think one guy that really goes unsung around the league, and it is kind of an irritant, I think is a good way to describe him. But Tumani Kamara can just hoop. He's good.
They have some prospects. I agree. Avdia was awesome tonight. Avdia had me fantasizing about what he would look like in a Thunder uniform, which is something that Jacob used to talk me into doing a few years ago quite often. He's good, man.
Yeah, he was really good. Obviously, Kamara was awesome. 24 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists for Kamara.
5 of 5 from 3.
That'll
That's
do.
pretty huge.
Scoot had 25 points, only 7 of 17 from the field. I don't know. Scoot's first step, Scoot's shake is elite. He's very, very, very fast. And Shaden Sharp, a minus 28 on the night.
Yeesh.
It felt like a minus 28 from him.
3 of 10 from the 4.
What's funny about Kamara is that he was part of the deal where Phoenix was adamant about getting Yusuf Nurkic. They shipped Kamara out right after they drafted him. Wouldn't he be a nice little depth piece for the Suns right now?
Suns are in
Yeah.
I wanted to, because you guys were talking about J-Dub kind of coming around and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So this stat won't necessarily reflect that because I'm looking at all of January. But a few things I thought were interesting. When you look at games in January, Isaiah Joe, 11 games. He is shooting 49% from 3 on 6.5 attempts.
6.5 attempts. That's the huge thing there. He's
That's
efficient on high volume, which is everything you want. Yeah. Jacob, again, you and I were talking about this, not to keep using that, but earlier in the season, we were talking about Isaiah Joe's shooting struggles. And one thing that I really feel like I failed to mention and even failed to recognize was something that Mark's mentioned a lot recently, in that they were putting Joe in so many unique and different motions than he was used to. Like early in his career, it was, post up in the corner, catch and shoot 3-point attempts. This season, they're kind of using him in more of a Klay Thompson role. The dribble handoffs, the picks off ball, and getting him open in those regards. And he struggled with it early on, but he's finally finding that groove. And that's dangerous for this team because it creates so much more offensive motion, obviously spreads the floor. So to see Joe hitting those shots and kind of this new role that I think the Thunder are using him in is really exciting and promising.
Yep.
So here's some more stats for you. Isaiah, 49%. Kaysen Wallace, 47% from 3. His January has been 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and nearly 2 steals a game. Lou, 47% from 3 on 5.5 attempts per game. And then Alex Caruso up to 37.5% for the month on 3.5 attempts per game.
He's gotten better month over month, which is encouraging.
Tonight wasn't so encouraging when he was 1 of 6 and finally hit that.
He hit that he missed like 3 on one possession. But yeah, Jacob, I'm glad you brought that up because I saw someone share a similar batch of stats on Twitter either today or the other day and had the same reaction. The 3-point shooting progression, at least this last month or couple months, is a huge unlock for this team. The Thunder were an excellent 3-point shooting team last year, and their start to the season was decidedly not that. And I think it was a little bit baffling because it's not like the roster changed over. If anything, you shipped out Josh Giddey, who should bring up your 3-point percentage, but instead this team was struggling from behind the arc. As good as they've been, if they 1, get healthy, and 2, find their 3-point shooting percentages again. I'm not saying it has to match what it was last year because they're shooting a much higher volume than last year. But if it gets a little better to where it's not, bottom half of the league, that this team could unlock a whole nother dimension to their game. Because again, it opens up a lot for this team. If you now have to trust that Isaiah Joe could torch you at any moment, which I think you do right now, if Alex Caruso can keep defenders honest, if Case and Wallace and guys like that can also chip in, like it becomes even harder to guard this team. And then you add the floor spacers like Chet, you add Hartenstein doing what he did tonight. This team has another gear that can be achieved if they can consistently hit outside shots, which they have not really done much this season. Really glad you brought that up.
Thunder are up to 6th in the league in offensive rating at a 116.2. So that's good.
That's good.
Let's look at January for offensive rating. The Thunder are 5th, so roughly the same spot. They're actually 2nd in January in defensive rating, but I always just love sharing this stat, so I'm going to real quick. The Thunder are 1st in the league in defensive rating at a 103.9. Second in the league is the Clippers at a 107.2. That is a 3.3% difference. The gap between 1 and 2 is the same as the gap between 2 and 9. So it's a pretty sizable gap. When you look at net rating, the Thunder are 12.3. The Cavs are second place at 9.1. So you're looking at a 3.2 point per 100 possession difference.
They've
there.
fallen off. The Cavs have been not great since.
Cavs are 5-5 in their last 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
So also like this game tonight started off slow for the Thunder. They got down like 10 or 12 points.
Their offensive rating ended up being a 127, which is pretty damn good.
Yes.
Yep.
I think the thing to keep in mind, that second quarter was really, I think, what did it too, Nick. If I can get that pulled up, 39-26 in the second quarter is wild. But
Isaiah Joe and J-Dub there really kind of took over offensively.
I think it's important for us to also note that we are definitely in like the doldrums of the season. We're talking late January basketball against a 17-win Portland team. I said Portland's been better, and they have. They also still only have 17 wins.
Yep.
You know, you're on the road. For them, it was like a 3 p.m. tip. So just like kind of like a strange game. That Jazz game the other night, again, not a good team. Thunder playing super small against a team that's got every white man over 7 foot in the continental U.S. I mean, am I wrong?
Except for Chet.
Minus R2.
Filipowski.
They have Filipowski and Laurie Markkinen,
Walker Kessler.
And they have another one.
Drew Eubanks.
Drew Eubanks.
They literally have every white 7 foot.
Justin, we found your next team.
Yes. Only if they play them all together.
They almost did. They had 3 of them out at one point.
That's absurd.
They were playing
Markkinen,
Filipowski at the 3.
Yeah.
And I was like,
dude,
that's insane. But you know, so that's a team that's bigger than you, but again, a team that's like not very good.
Yeah.
Nick said it the other day. I forget if I was on the show or if I was just listening to the show or what was going on. But no, I think Nick and Taylor were having a war in the group chat.
Oh, yes, they were.
I was trying to go to bed. I was just
Those are my favorites.
I had to mute my phone because I was laying there. It's like,
I muted the chat.
Meanwhile, that's my favorite part. Is meanwhile, Nick and I have like our own like individual texts going on at the same exact time.
But Nick was getting on Taylor's head because it's like, what do we not know about this team? We don't know what the Chet iHeart lineup looks like. But besides that, I think it's pretty clear this is a team that is going to go into the postseason. If healthy, we're going to look at them and say, who else in the postseason can beat this team 4 times in 7 games? And it's going to be really, really, really hard to find an answer to that. I don't think a Sunday afternoon game in Portland, Oregon on January 26th is really much to learn from.
Yep. This is the part of the season where teams have those like weird, wacky, unexplained losses, like what the Cavs are going through. The Cavs are still an excellent team. Yeah, they're 5-5 in their last 10, but like, does that change anything? To your point, Jacob, does that change anything about how you feel about the Cavs over the full course of the season? No, right? Like you would still not be lining up to face them in the playoffs right now. And I think the same would go for the Thunder, right? If they drop a random game to the Mavericks like they did twice, or if it's to the Jazz, right? Even somebody like the Jazz, there's still, you can be upset about it, but you cannot overemphasize that single instance while forsaking the entire rest of the season. There's enough on tape of what this team is and what they could be.
Sample's big enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, like you said, this is kind of the doldrums of the season, especially as we head into All-Star break. Some teams are going to be limping into All-Star break. And you see it every single year. When you come back from that week off, certain teams hit a different gear. They accelerate, they find a different pace, they find a different ceiling, and it all goes towards the playoffs, in which, who knows what happens once you get to that place. But if you drop a game in mid-January, mid-February, it's not the end of the world, despite what Twitter would have you believe.
Or Taylor.
Or Taylor.
That was
I use those two interchangeably. Taylor,
that was
Twitter.
my counter argument. I've been on a Twitter troll rant recently, I must admit, both on the my personal account and the pod account.
We've noticed.
But
hey, I gotta say, taking the time away from social media is really nice.
Yeah. Much less toxic, I imagine. Now,
Taylor's taking it up for the both of you.
That's exactly right. I'm fired up. My counter argument to Nick was that, yes, random games in January, but why give Dylan Jones those minutes against a team like the Mavericks and not play Alex Caruso more, and then play DJ in a game like tonight and lose the game against the Blazers? I think that's a little more beneficial for you to win for this team and get that motivation against the Mavericks. But regardless, you guys mentioned it. It's the equivalent of the dog days of summer for the NBA season here, heading into the All-Star break. It always has been every single season. And it's really impressive. I mean, last two things before we move on from this game, because the chat's saying we need a little more excitement, motivation. The Thunder currently had the best record in the entire NBA, now above the Cavaliers. Like you guys mentioned, they're on a 5-5, 10-game stretch. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander didn't feel like he had his best game. 35 points, 12 of 25 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3, and 9 from the free throw line, alongside 3 steals, 0 blocks tonight. But, we'll take it. Pretty damn good.
Pretty good.
Two things I was going to mention. First, Nick, I think you're the one with the stat. How many games have they lost now when they have either Chet or Hartenstein in the lineup?
5.
They've lost 5 when they have one of those two in the lineup?
Oh, when they have one of the two, they've lost 2.
3. 2 or 3.
2 or maybe 3 now. No, I think it's still 2. I think it may be 2. It may be 3.
I think it's 2.
I know they're 6 and 5 without either, and they've lost 8 games. So I guess it would be 3.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Quick maths.
Yeah.
Also, just looking at the calendar, the Thunder's last game before the break is on that Thursday night. I think almost every team in the league plays that Thursday night. All-Star game will be Sunday the 16th. The Thunder do not play again until that Friday. My assumption is they will get back in market maybe on like Tuesday, Wednesday maybe, but get 2 or 3 days of practice in, and then Chet comes back. So you almost get like a
mini training camp,
a little mini training camp, an on-ramp for Chet Holmgren. And these games don't matter a whole heck of a lot. It matters what they look like after the break and that stretch run there, which is like 25, 30-ish games.
Yep. That it's going to be such, it's a absolute cliche at this point, but it's going to be so much fun. Like, there's going to be so much anticipation around Thunder fandom around the All-Star break. Like, obviously, the festivities of All-Star and seeing Shai, like, that'll be fun, but coming out of that break with the opportunity to potentially see what this team could look like at full strength, it's going to be a blast. Yeah. Like, there's already excitement coming out of that break because, like you said, it's kind of that like home stretch of the season when a lot of teams really start trying to turn it on. Think to, the great trade deadline moves of the past that like really elevate a team. Now, just pretend Chet Holmgren is one of those moves, right? Like, pretend the Thunder went and traded for Chet Holmgren, who's going to be joining the team. Like, that's essentially what you're getting out of what the Thunder are getting back, just from a health standpoint.
And if you thought the defense was already good,
Yeah.
You're now going to have 48 minutes of Chet and iHeart.
Right.
And you're going to have 48 minutes of a combination of Shea, Dort, Dub, Kaysen, and Caruso.
That is insane. It's going to be
like
so
their
fun.
their
So many
bench
lines.
their bench lineup defense is going to be better than a third of the league's regular defense.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Easily.
I'm not sitting here saying the regular season doesn't matter, because it does. And we will continue to talk about it. And we love the drama and the things to talk about up here on the stream. But I guess to put a bow on Taylor and I's little argument over text the other day.
I think we should
Typical Nick,
reenact it.
always trying to get the last word.
It doesn't. It really doesn't matter if the Thunder wins 70 games or wins 60 games, or whether Caruso plays 28 minutes on a random Tuesday or 20 minutes on a random, or if the team wins or loses on a random Tuesday. If Oklahoma City secures the number 1 seed, and whether it's by half a game or whether it's, I guess it might be a full game, or if it's by 8 games, there's really no difference. We love the drama building up to that kind of moment. Doesn't really matter. What matters, and I think we've all kind of said it in a roundabout way, if this team's healthy, day 1 of playoffs, good luck to the opposing teams. And as such, have that mindset in the regular season when Dylan Jones is getting minutes, when Usman Jang's getting minutes. There's a bigger plan at play here. Like keeping the guys healthy is important. So is winning games and making sure you keep that number 1 seed. But the only way you wouldn't keep the number 1 seed is if somebody significant got hurt. Hence my point about let the lineups be the lineups.
Yep. For what it's worth, tankathon.com has the Thunder as the 15th most difficult strength of schedule left. A little interesting, the number 1 most difficult strength of schedule actually tied Phoenix Suns and Memphis Grizzlies. Both those teams have a combined 5 games against the Thunder left.
Yeah, that'll make your strength of schedule a little harder.
Sure will.
Memphis has 3 games against OKC, 2 against Cleveland, 1 against Boston left.
It's tough.
It's tough. It's tough.
They could win them all.
They absolutely could.
Memphis could?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they could.
Random aside,
That'd be wild if they did.
Jacob could win the
they
jackpot
could.
too.
You could.
Did you guys see the clip of Ja calling Edie the enforcer?
Yes.
Oh.
It was pretty awesome.
funny.
He was talking about I forget who he got into a little scuffle with.
Eubanks.
Ja, yeah. And he said Edie came over and said, "Is this man bothering you?" or something like that.
Sounds like Steven Adams.
That's exactly what it reminded me of.
That matchup's going to be fun when the Thunder's bigs are healthy.
When the Thunder's bigs are healthy and when Ja plays, it's going to be fun. Silva's going to say unholy things to Chris Vernon.
Chet versus Triple J, Hartenstein versus Edie.
It'd make a really fun playoff
Shea
matchup.
versus Shaw. It'll be a blast. Yeah.
It would be.
The anti-gun coalition against John Morant.
Yeah, something like that.
Reminder, dunks count for 2, just like layups.
That's right.
Do you think the NRA has ever tried to sponsor him?
Any other thoughts on this one? Any other thoughts from this
let's do some
lovely
trivia.
Trailblazers game? All right, we're going to take a quick break. Everyone grab your whiteboards. So we're going to get ready to play some Prairie Trivia when we'll be right back. And we're back. Most of us. Nick, I think, is still getting his whiteboard. Taylor, you
Potty
mentioned
break.
about 17 times that you and Jacob hung out tonight.
It is in his car, and neither of us thought about it today.
In his car, not
In his car.
your car.
No, not my. If it were
Okay.
in my car, I would do what Nick's doing and go and get it.
Still
right
no
now.
whiteboard for Taylor.
My point being, it's not just me that keeps forgetting. Okay.
Touche.
So I still have my handy dandy Thunder notebook,
Handy dandy notebook.
Blue's Clues.
Well, I have to keep stalling till Nick gets back. So we'll talk about Prairie, our proud sponsor of Prairie Trivia, and our podcast in general. Go hang out at Prairie OKC. They are constantly dropping new beers. They just rolled out a new variety pack that includes an exclusive German Pils. The only place you can get that beer is in the variety pack. And every Sunday at 4:30, you can play Prairie Trivia in real life. And it's a blast. So you should absolutely do that. drink good beer, play Prairie Trivia, sneak in a pickleball game if you're feeling feisty. It's a great place to go hang out.
I have a $50 Prairie gift card.
Yes.
Ooh.
That I would like to give away on the show tonight.
Yes. You have my attention. How would you like to give it away on the show tonight?
I have no clue. I would like to take it and put it in someone else's hand.
Well,
You'd like to what?
So I guess in the chat, if you want a $50 Prairie gift card, type in.
Tell us why. Tell us why you love Prairie and why you want a Prairie gift card in the
there
chat.
you go.
There you go.
All right, Jacob, that's on you to monitor the chat and find your winner.
Okay.
Okay. Who's ready to play some Prairie Trivia?
Let's do it.
All right. We got 3 questions tonight. Tonight, the Thunder played the Trailblazers, as you may have heard. So there is a theme for tonight's trivia that revolves around probably the most famous, infamous play of this series between the Thunder and Trailblazers. We're going to be talking about the Dame Wave. The moment that sent these two teams on slightly different trajectories that went viral on the interwebs, but what's actually happened since? So the first question is, what is the Thunder's record against Portland since the Dame Wave?
Jacob has this one.
Tonight.
He's got it.
He literally told me it, and I forgot.
Can you remind us the date of the wave?
It was 2019, the 2019 playoffs.
Holy, that's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. Feels like yesterday. I remember literally I was
You
standing.
had a lot more people alive then.
I was, my goodness, standing in the middle of my living room and just fell over backwards onto the ground when that shot went in.
And the wave was the dagger. I still remember watching the wave after that shot.
It was.
Then everything changed.
Indeed it did. So what is the Thunder record against Portland since the Dame Wave? Do we have our answers?
Oh, I need to add there we go.
All right. Answers. Jacob says 15-0. Taylor says 15-0.
I remembered.
Nick says 16-2. The answer is 18-4.
What? Boo.
I think they're on a 15-game win streak. Though.
Correct. That is the stat you are referencing.
I was the closest. That's a victory for Nick.
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, Nick. 18-4 is the correct answer. All right. So now thinking bigger picture. What is the Thunder's overall winning percentage since the Dame Wave? So I'm not going to make you guess record because that would be absurd. We're going to go percentage.
Oh, overall.
Overall. Total games.
I was like, I can just do the math real quick.
No. So we're going bigger picture. Like I said, that wave put these two teams on different trajectories.
So we're talking 1920,
we
21, 22, 22, 23.
You got it.
20.
Total winning percentage. So you've got to consider the Thunder's tanking years, and then you've got to consider what they've been doing the last couple years and figure out where the chips lie amongst those numbers.
I got my answer.
Nick's locked in. Total winning percentage since the Dame Wave.
Trying to think about the tanking years and take that into effect. That's
You shouldn't think about those tanking years.
The winning percentage was 0.
Well, it's crazy because they tanked for what, 8 years, Taylor? Is that what they say online?
Yeah, that's right. Black eye of the league.
They tanked for 8 of the last 5 years. All right, everybody ready? Answers in. Jacob says 42.6. Taylor says 49. And Nick says 56.9.
Nick went high.
The correct answer is 51.49.
Ooh,
I win again.
Just
I
a
had a 5 in
smidge
my
above
answer.
500.
I had a 5 in my answer, and you guys had 4.
I did not think
I
it'd be
was
close to
2
that because
away.
I didn't think when I wrote that question, I didn't think it'd be over 500 either.
Oh, you
Well-
wrote these? You didn't get these from the...
I almost
did.
went in the 30
Impressive.
percentage.
Yeah.
Very
I
impressive.
want you guys to understand Oklahoma City's 29 games
Right.
above their losing, like their
Right.
win number, like that's a 29 game cushion. over the course of 5 or 6 years, it's a big thing.
adds
Last
up.
year they were great. Year before they were right around 500. So that's why I went with the 5 in my number. That's why I won again. So
False. I was only 2 percentage points away.
Yeah.
Two
Do we
basis
play this
points
like The
away.
Price is Right? Where
Yes,
it's closest without going over.
obviously.
All right, last question. So we talked about 2 franchises heading on different trajectories. What is the Trailblazers' overall winning percentage since the Dame wave? Dun, 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 dun. Trailblazers not been great recently, but when you think back to
Also weren't great.
where they were,
supposed to be good.
well, fair enough. They've had some playoff appearances. They've made some runs. Everyone ready? All right,
Taylor,
locked
geez,
I went
in.
low.
Jacob says 43.4. Taylor says 36. Nick says 41.3. And the answer is 39.9.
Oh, I had 39. Oh no, sorry, I had 38 originally. I should have stuck with it.
Yeah, I wrote a bunch of numbers.
Too
on my
bad you didn't have a
whiteboard.
whiteboard.
I got this nice.
Pretty
little
crazy
notebook
though,
here.
right? Like in those seasons since the Dame wave, Trailblazers 39% winning percentage, and the Thunder 51.5.
That's crazy.
It's a big gap.
And then Dame waved goodbye to the Portland Trailblazers, and he's no
He said
longer there.
goodbye. Yep. Dame time shipped to Milwaukee, and the rest was history.
You got
That's
more.
all I
These are
got.
fun. Oh,
That's all I got.
Those were fun. Those were
What?
great.
Hey, thanks. Because I came up with them on the fly. So I'm glad
About
you enjoyed
30
it.
minutes ago.
And I didn't get yelled at by the chat this time like the last time I did trivia. These were more positive Thunder trivia stats tonight. So thank you to Prairie for sponsoring Prairie Trivia. We're going to take another quick break. And on the other side, we're going to revisit some preseason bets with Nick. We'll be right back. And we're back. Nicholas, I believe
Yes,
you have a
sir.
document outlining some of our preseason bets. If you haven't, it's a great episode to go back and listen to where we all make outlandish bets before the season, deciding what we think will or won't happen. We put some stakes in the game. We're just over the midway point of the season, so we felt like it'd be a good time to do a little check-in and see where some of these bets stand. So why don't you take it away?
I sure will. Weirdly enough, all the ones that I'm projected to lose have disappeared. So I'm looking good with my bets this
Uh-huh.
season.
Thankfully, we have recordings.
Thankfully so. Let's start with a bet between Taylor and Justin. This was a bet that Taylor made and Justin took. This is like low-hanging fruit. It's going to be a very easy win for you,
Okay.
Justin. Well, maybe not actually, because the verbiage in here is very important.
Oh,
That's
boy.
the fun part.
We
here.
need a lawyer.
The bet was Chet Holmgren finishes, and I know you're getting anxiety. Top 2, more anxiety, in blocks per game.
Per game. Yes.
Per game.
And on the team,
In the NBA, I
The NBA.
think.
In the NBA. There was no fine print that
Mhm.
had a 65 game minimum or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still in the running. The
Dang
payout
right.
was the loser has to eat an entire block of cheese on the podcast.
Yes, please. That's a
That is-
treat.
It sounds actually pretty good.
That's
Um,
that's smart negotiating right there. There's no
It is.
losers here.
It is. Chet Holmgren is currently second in blocks per game in the NBA. So we are
Darn
tracking.
right.
So
What's
it
he
all-
at?
He's at 2.6 a game
Mm-hmm.
behind our good buddy Victor Wembanyama, who's at 3.9.
That's insane.
Oh my goodness.
Get ready to
Yeah.
learn cheese, buddy.
Get ready to learn.
Taylor
cheese.
wasn't here to hear all that.
So Taylor, you are on mute. But
What am I
the
eating?
bet was that Chet finishes top 2 in blocks per game in the NBA. There was no stipulation on how many games he's currently.
There was no
Ooh.
stipulation. What?
Well,
I'm pretty sure I lobbied for the per game because I got burned on
totals.
Poku not playing like half the season and got screwed
That
over
was
by
fun.
that one a couple years ago.
Let me tell you who is just behind him. Obviously, with 10 games played, his numbers are going to fluctuate quite a bit when he comes back. He's at 2.6. Walker Kessler's at 2.4. AD's at 2.2. Brooke Lopez and Miles Turner are both at 2. Nobody else is at even 1.8. So
And then
there's really just like
Lindy at
3 guys.
3.6 or whatever.
3.9.
So
Chet
you're
Chet will
saying
have
there's
a
3.9.
Chet will have a small sample though, so if he has
Right.
a game or two
Yes,
with
he
like
has a
tape
bad
off,
game.
it's gonna
So
change.
you're
it
saying there's a chance. Let's go.
Yes.
Also,
so he
does
gets
come
7
back and
blocks
have,
in his
like, a-
first game back.
or does he come back and have like a minutes restriction?
Need to perform a prayer circle around that hip.
All right. Moving
So
on
far,
here.
so good.
I've got a really fun
Also,
one.
Smoot, no, I do not need to be taking any charges. That would be one JD Silva who lost that bet to me.
That's
As
true.
Nick Crane still owes me a rap freestyle over our intro instrumental. Neither
All
of
right.
which have happened.
I'll
We have a
do
bunch
it.
of cowards on
I'll
this
do it one
podcast.
day.
That's right.
The next one is one between, again, Taylor, but this time with me.
Hmm.
I'll tell you the payout, and then I'll tell you the bet.
Nick's
The
excited
payout
about this.
is
so it's
that
not like
the
a-
loser has to shotgun 3 Prairie beers before a post-game
Oh
show.
no.
Taylor does that normally.
He does.
It's another day in July.
The bet, which has already hit,
Oh no.
SGA
Oh, yes.
dropped a 50 piece.
Yes.
Oh, I said no.
You said no.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. It was
Prairie.
the opposite.
It was the opposite?
Just what I was gonna say. Doesn't sound like me.
Taylor, so Nick's got a shotgun the beer.
Sunshine Pumper Taylor, of course. you're
That's
right.
right. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, before a post-game show is the verbiage. We'll have to look at the
Love
schedule,
that.
see when I'm scheduled for a post-game show, and make sure that I have enough time to breathe and have a good podcast.
We need
I
video.
will
evidence,
join
though.
and co-host.
Yes.
You know
The
what?
shotguns have to be recorded.
Someone's got to co-host that.
We'll find a time that either you're up here in OKC or I'm down in Dallas to visit, and we'll do a live pod together, and I'll video
right.
for you.
That'll
be fun.
That will do.
I love that very much.
Here's one with Jacob that does not have a taker filled out. So we'll have to go back and listen, but it's a good bet. And I think it's one that the taker will be happy that they took it. Maybe it was me.
You were the one who took the notes.
It's a fair
The
point.
bet that Jacob proposed was that Dylan Jones plays 55 or more games in the regular season. This was back when we all thought, and
Very
hindsight's
high on
2020.
Dylan Jones.
Hindsight's 2020. We all thought Dylan was going to be the rookie, not AJ, that made a big impact. The loser has to do the I think you should leave 55 burgers, 55 fries skit. So Jacob, brush up on your drive-through.
But like actually doing it at a drive-through.
yes.
Uh-oh.
And then you gotta strategically pick one that you can peel off and drive away, not like at the Taco Bell one where there's like a barrier.
where you get stuck.
You literally can't leave.
I do it, then I'm stuck in the drive-through
Yeah.
line for 30 minutes before I get to the window.
Oh, sorry,
You know,
I was
like,
doing a bit for
Your
the
total's
internet.
$3,000, and they're like, "Well, you already ordered it, so
We've already made it all.
use the pod card, buddy."
Touche.
All right. Give me a name. Who do we want to hear as a better?
We haven't heard
We haven't
any
heard-
Silva bets yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Silva made a bet that I took. And this one was not as smart as Justin. He's not been burned by this apparently, but now I think
He
he'll
might
feel the
be.
burn. The bet Silva proposed that Chet Holmgren would log 220 blocks this season.
Oh,
I said, sure, I'll take it. And the loser has to do the quote unquote, and we'll have to listen back for more detail, but it sounds awful. The step on Legos bet.
Oh.
So
That's
I love
kind of
that.
brutal.
Silva, go get a pedicure because your feet are going to be on camera stepping on Legos.
How many blocks did you say?
Don't send the video to Tim McMahon.
220. Oh my God. It wasn't Tim McMahon. It was
Bond tips.
Bond
Bond
tips.
Bond
Von
tips.
Temps.
and Silva said, is Bontemps a little freaky?
free toes
my
on the
gosh.
Uncontested podcast.
So, and I think Justin's onto something here.
Oh man.
The number was 220 blocks, so I think it has to be 220 Lego blocks that he has to step.
Oh, love that.
Or
for-
maybe the
for
delta
reference-
between 220 and how many he gets.
For reference, he has 26.
Poor guy.
So what?
Made a lot of 10-block games.
He needs
Yeah.
like 180 over the course. How many games do you think he's going to play? 30? So he'd have to come back and average 6 blocks a game for the rest of the season.
If he does, I'll step on some damn Legos.
Yeah, at that point,
Yeah.
I'll
You all
join
be
you.
stepping on Legos. The
That's
next
insane.
one is a fun one, and I took it, of course, too. And I'm not picking just the ones I took.
Sure.
And I actually don't know the answer to this one, so I need somebody to do some statistical analysis while I'm talking about this. And by doing so, I mean pull up the Western Conference standings, please.
I got
Looks
you.
like
The bet-
Jacob's on it.
The bet that Jacob put out into the ether was that one or less California teams finish in the top 10 of the Western Conference standings. I'll tell you the payout. The loser has to buy a single movie ticket, popcorn, and drink for the winner. Maybe a Vegas thing.
Yeah.
Maybe just a one-off thing.
Maybe just a date night. Who's to say?
Jacob, how many teams from California are in the top 10 of the Western Conference?
3.
Oof.
Uh-oh.
Warriors are on the outside looking in?
Yes, and for the record, I didn't know the Pelicans would be this bad.
No, again, all these bets, even like now that sound
Yeah,
crazy. In the moment,
right.
they were all like stuff we were arguing.
Yeah.
It was
None of
agreed.
us thought the Clippers were going to be this good.
No,
No,
Agreed.
not
None
at
of
all.
us.
no. I completely agree.
That's
How
fun.
many more we want to do?
Give us 2 or 3 more.
Okay. I want to pick the best ones here. Oh, here's a Justin Taylor bet.
Ooh.
I think that Taylor will be happy with this one. I think. I don't actually know the numbers off the top of my head.
I was gonna say, give us some close ones. So
This one, I don't know if it's close. I just don't know. I am pretty confident you'll be happy. Justin said Isaiah Joe will be a better shooter from 3-point this season than last season, and Taylor took it. And the loser buys the winner a triple dipper, which I had for dinner last night.
Oh, buddy. Once
Funny
again,
What's a triple dipper?
I'm sorry. What?
Oh, what? A
It's
triple
the-
dipper?
It's the greatest appetizer known to man.
Chili's?
Oh,
It's the
okay.
best.
Okay.
Amazing.
Isaiah Joe's at 38.9% this year. Last year, he was at
43?
41.6.
Ooh, yeah, it's close.
Mm.
He's been on a heater too.
That was my big swing bet, and I think I
close.
might have struck out.
Hey,
It's
I am-
close. He's
It's been
going to need to
climbing.
get hot, though.
He's been hot, dude.
He needs to get hotter.
Hey, I am more than happy to pay for Justin's triple dipper. If it means Isaiah Joe is shooting
Shooting
43%
43%.
free on high attempts.
Yeah, he just needs like a dozen more 8 of 8 nights,
Yeah.
something like that.
Speaking of the Clippers from that
When
last
you look at real quick, when you
Go
look
ahead.
at last 10, Isaiah Joe's at 51%.
Just
Mm.
keep that rolling.
good grief.
Turn that 10 into 20 and see what happens. Taylor will be helping me wash down some fried mozz and Southwest egg rolls.
Sounds
Yum.
fantastic. I am down for a trip to Frisco, Texas to do such.
Yes.
The Clippers, who we just talked about, who've been much better than expected. I'll be quick here on this one. Justin bet Taylor the Clippers would give OKC a top
Another.
8 pick in the 2025 draft. The loser
Also close, man.
loser has to wear not close right now, I don't think.
Not right now.
Loser has to wear the crazy Blake Griffin shirt to a game. I remember there being
Oh,
I don't know what it is,
yes.
though. What
The
is
shirt,
I don't
where the
remember this.
Clippers were trying to woo Blake Griffin and they photoshopped his face next to like Nelson Mandela and like Martin Luther King Jr. and all
What?
these like
How are we going
famous-
to acquire this?
Well, I'll make it, obviously.
Yeah.
There's images on the internet.
Okay. Well, Taylor, get ready to learn Blake Griffin, buddy.
That's a fun one. I'll enjoy that.
Oh, here's
None
Yeah,
of, none of
man,
us
sure.
thought, we all thought the Clippers were going to give the Thunder a
Yeah.
top 10 pick. and it was the Sixers all along.
The Sixers all along.
Sure was. This one is interesting. It's another one that's already a cash out for me. The bet is that
But before you read it, can I read this?
Yes,
real quick.
Yes, you can.
Thunder Chick says that she thinks one of the bet consequences for Taylor needs to involve him standing in the Vegas airport with his whiteboard in practical Joker style with something embarrassing written on it.
It needs to say, "I'm Henri."
You're lucky I used my F-bomb card last podcast.
Oh, that's good. I'm going to
love
keep
it.
that in my back pocket for next year's
Great
bet
bet.
show.
It's a great bet. This one will result in me having an amazing summer league because it involves our favorite treat at summer league, and it involves
Milky Buns.
It involves Justin eating Milky Buns, but as a punishment.
I'm sorry, brother. That's not a punishment.
Once
Again, I just stacked my bets. There's no losing.
listen.
Oh, no. I have to eat Milky Buns and a block of cheese.
The Thunder will have a winning streak of at least 8 games. That obviously happened. So Justin has to eat 2 Milky Buns in a 15-minute span.
Buddy.
Oh, that's doable.
You
2?
think?
We went with 2?
Yes.
You
Don't
just
do that.
double
Die.
tax bad boys.
Those things are so rich, dude.
They are.
Yeah.
They're going to be
And
growing up.
I'm going to be.
It'll be worth it.
That's a delight.
Seems like a great bet.
Seems like a great bet.
That's awful.
I was mad when I lost the bet to Taylor about the rotisserie chicken.
Did you like rotisserie
Sure,
chicken?
why not?
I don't think that was you and I. That was Silva and I. He's the rotisserie chicken guy.
Oh, that was Silva. I think I fed you the bet payoff on that one because I had it in my back pocket. I'll put away some. You said 15 minutes?
Yes.
Easy money.
I'll join you.
Yeah,
my.
right. Just for funsies.
Good.
Moot says
grief.
the Blake Griffin shirt says Pioneers and has Gandhi, Abe Lincoln, and Nelson
Pioneers.
Mandela.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I will proudly rock
Oh,
that.
it also has Albert Einstein, Barack Obama, and Muhammad Ali.
What?
And Blake Griffin.
It's so good. Go Google it if you've never seen it. It's a gym.
Justin, do you
What's
remember?
really funny is that this is the epitome of this podcast. That comment exists. The Blake Griffin shirt says Pioneers and has Gandhi, Abe Lincoln, Nelson Mandela, Albert Einstein, Obama, and Muhammad Ali. And then the very next comment in the chat says, I love rotisserie chicken.
Do you guys remember when it was like Shai's second season with OKC and everybody was talking about like all the similarities, how he looks like Travis Scott, the rapper? So Justin made the Cactus Jack, like Shai. What was it?
Cactus Shai.
Cactus Shai.
Tough.
I am the proud owner of one of one shirts.
One
of
of
that
one.
before it immediately got shut down.
The
So
one
that'll be me with
shirt-
my Blake Griffin shirt.
The one shirt that got produced before we got that cease and desist from Travis Scott's lawyers.
I should have broke that out summer league this year.
You should have.
Sure.
Yeah.
We got 2 more. Two
Okay.
more.
Love it.
First one is between Silva and Jacob. I'll need stats on this. If you pull up the Thunder's team stats and sort by 3-point percentage, please, individually. This one was Silva proposed it. Jacob took it. Silva said Lou Dort finishes outside the top 3 on the Thunder in 3-point attempts.
Attempts.
3-point attempts.
Attempts.
Wow.
Outside the top 3. So if Lou Dort's top 3 in attempts from 3.
Lou Dort is third,
Okay.
5.6.
That's fun.
Shai is second at 5.7. Isaiah
Wow.
Joe is first at 6.0.
Who's 4th?
J Dub at 5.0.
Wow.
This gets real dicey if like a Cam Johnson trade were to happen, because then it's like that changes things. Not that I think it will. I'm just throwing that out there. Trade deadline always gets weird with like half seasons and stuff.
Yeah.
Even just Jet coming back. Like,
Yeah. Well, I don't think he'll take 6
Chet
a
was
game.
at
But
No,
3.7.
no. I just mean it's going to take away opportunities.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
other
yeah.
players.
Totally. The payout is that the loser has to wear a Spider-Man mask on the show and buy the winner of Taco Bell in Vegas.
Okay.
So it sounds like Silva's going to be Spider-Man and buy me Taco Bell.
Sounds like
That
it
just
is.
sounds like normal summer league, buddy.
It does. It does.
Just another day at the Contessa podcast.
He's gonna dress up like Spider-Man and go down the zip lines outside the hotel.
That's still my
He's going to
my
sleep like a mummy
Maria
with us.
poutine.
Gross. That was also an amazing.
Vegas still was an animal.
Last one here. Jacob bet it. Justin took it. The bet was that Oklahoma City will average more than 9.8 steals per game. What are they at?
That's a specific number. I'll get the stat.
It must have been like what they were last year or something.
Yeah, that's probably a good bet. So I said they'd average 9.8 or more.
Yes, and Justin said they would not.
They are
either that or he made a punishment that he likes and intentionally botched it.
The Thunder are at 11.3.
Holy cannoli.
All right.
So what am I going to have to do, Nick?
The payout is that Justin has to go buy a steal of a deal, and the loser chooses a $25 max item from Facebook Market.
Oh.
That the loser has to go meet up with somebody and purchase it.
I hate that. That's an actual
Jacob
punishment.
has the opportunity to buy some really interesting things on the internet.
$25.
Some interesting
you can get
things
a lot
on
for
$25.
I'll do one item.
Okay.
He's the first filter he's gonna apply on Facebook Market is condition used.
Not safe for work.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know, chat. What should I make him buy?
No.
Yes.
Don't ask
You gotta
them.
go on. You gotta browse.
Don't ask them.
Yes.
Hey,
Gross.
one of my buddies found a Facebook Marketplace guy selling the turquoise Thunder City unis,
Okay.
but with the current players.
Oh, the DH Gate
That
special.
means they're fake.
Yeah, I want one.
I'll go pick that up for you.
Hey, I do already have my favorite bet pay off for next season. I think it's even better than the bet that Silva and I had for the J-Will charges. You guys want me to hint at it?
Sure.
It involves a Lou Dort jersey and Dallas Mavericks fans. And I cannot wait.
I will not be taking up on that bet.
Note to self: don't bet with Taylor.
Murr says have Justin buy a $50 Prairie gift card used for $25, and it's used because it's an empty card because he spent it all.
Hey.
So
Well
Murr
played,
gets a
Murr.
$50 gift card and 25 cash. That's a great deal.
Sounds like a Stan Presti deal.
That is. That's using your assets. All right. One more quick break. Then we're going to make some predictions. Jacob's going to give away a gift card. We're going to get out of here. Catch you on the other side. And we're back. Let's get into some predictions. Should be easy this week. 2 games. 2 lonely games on the schedule. We have Wednesday at the Golden State Warriors before returning. Is it home against the Kings?
Correct.
Coming back home against the Kings on
And
Saturday.
a big break there, which
Yeah.
is really nice.
Lots of big breaks. So, Jacob, we'll start with you. Wednesday at the Kings. What happens?
When Moneyball.
When?
Wednesday at the
and
Warriors.
Moneyball.
At the
Kings
Warriors.
first or Warriors?
Warriors.
Warriors.
Did I say Kings?
Yes.
At the Warriors
At the Warriors.
on
Moneyball.
Wednesday. Win Moneyball. What's your Moneyball sounder, Jacob?
Bow, wow, 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 wow.
Nick, what happens against the Warriors?
Win Moneyball Vegas.
Well done.
Ah.
Taylor.
I'm going with the W as well against the Dubs. No money ball.
Okay. I will also take the win against the Dubs, and I will take a money ball as well. My sounder will be, Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Boy.
Saturday versus the Kings. We'll run it back reverse. Taylor, what happens?
I'm playing the odds. I'm going with the W and my money ball. Here's a new sounder for you all. Dratata.
Yes, sir. Nick, Saturday against the Kings. What happens?
That's a... That's a win.
You scared me for a minute. Jacob, what happens Saturday against the Kings? He says a win. I'll take a win as well. 8 wins according to us.
Just go win every game, and you'll end up like 70-12.
You'll end up like me at the top of the standings.
My strategy all year has just been say win on every single thing.
All I do is
All right,
win, no
Nostradamus.
matter what.
Put your money on it. Take it to Vegas. Any other thoughts before we get out of here?
Jacob's got to pick a winner.
Jacob's got to pick a winner.
Aren't some of the Nostradamus predictions like there will be a day that is dark with clouds and water will fall from the sky?
That's about as challenging as picking a Thunder win.
I think Nostradamus was full of it. Here are the options.
I'd like for that to be a sounder.
Ben, I'm such a longtime Prairie drinker that I remember when they used to be known for Prairie Bomb.
Yep.
Yes.
The OG.
Okay.
That was my first
Ben also said
introduction
he
to
should get the
Prairie.
Prairie card because he is still thinking and posting about the Prairie card.
Well played, Ben.
TPF Recoil said, I'm a preacher and it would be funniest to give it to me.
That's fair.
And 03 Hardaway says, I'm 21, been a Thunder fan since 7 years old, proud Oklahoman. Would love my first Prairie experience to be because the fellas.
Ooh.
It's good, too. At least he's not currently 7 years old. That would cause issues.
I have two $50 Prairie gift cards, and I don't drink.
What?
Ooh, we're getting a double giveaway.
No, or... Yeah,
Do-
what are you saying? A
Do
triple?
one of you guys want to pitch in a $50 gift card and make it a triple? Because each of you have two right now,
Oh my
sitting in my
gosh.
car.
I'm down to give away.
All right.
Because I still have one at home.
Ben, TPF Recoil, and 03 Hardaway. DM me on Twitter at Jacob Niffen. We'll hook
Bang.
you up with some Prairie cards.
Santa
You just-
Niffen
whenever you go and cash them in, you just got to tell them that you got them from the Uncontested and how
That's
much you
right.
enjoy the podcast.
That's right. Love it. What a way to end it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for talking about a delightful mid-January contest against the Portland Trailblazers. Thanks for playing along with trivia. Thanks for posting sadistic bet payoff ideas. We love it all. If you want even more degeneracy, go hit that Patreon. QR code in the top corner of this stream right now. Also a link in the description wherever you're listening to this. Come hang out with us. The degenerates were in full force. We even had a degenerate boots on the ground in Portland today.
That was cool.
We are coast to coast.
Shout out Griffin.
Shout out Griffey.
Griffey.
Typical.
Well, hey,
Classic
anyways,
Taylor.
perfect transition. It's now time to transition now. You guys can drop off if you want for part 2 of the podcast where we break down the Kansas City Chiefs' huge win against the Buffalo Bills. Big
And that'll
takeaway.
do it for us tonight. Taylor will not be joining us anymore. No, but really, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you if you're listening to this in podcast form. Appreciate you as always. Make sure you're subscribed. Don't miss any of the content we got coming your way. Should be a blast as we build towards the playoffs. Lots of things to look forward to. Lots of things to be excited about. And we're going to be there for all of it. So make sure you're there with us. Until next time. And as always, Thunder up.